Good evening. Am I audible?
Good evening, sir. Audible, sir.
So, yesterday the philosophy paper was done. I hope all of you have seen the paper. If not seen the paper, I have spammed your course group with the solution. So, by that logic, you might have seen even your Telegram group. So, this is from yesterday. So, yesterday by 1 p.m., we had put or before 1 p.m. only, we had started putting all the answers from my handwritten notes. Paper one, each and every question, the answers were put right after the exam itself. उसको सिर्फ स्कैन करके डालते डालते में भी हमको शाम हो गया. So that is why I couldn't take paper 2 or could not upload material for paper 2. So I decided to take it today. But first question, like, how is your Josh in philosophy now? Because all of you were sitting, you have not, you have so far only heard me say कि सारे क्वेश्चन जो है नोट से ही आएंगे, PYQ के ही रिपीटेड क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, कुछ नए क्वेश्चन आएंगे वो भी अपने नोट्स में होंगे. हाउ मच ऑफ दोज स्टेटमेंट्स नाउ आर फ्रॉम द from the stage of pratibhasik sat or illusory reality? For how many of you it is now at vyavaharik sat or empirical reality? Yes. So you have to rise higher than this at paramarthik sat and get selected. You have to not stay here itself. You have to get selected. Yes, somebody is typing. Yes sir, मजा आ गया. Okay. मजा नहीं आना है, पेपर क्लियर करना. So the idea basically is कि ऐसा भी सवाल जहां पर कि कुछ डेविएशन यूपीएससी करे, कुछ डिफिकल्टी रेस करे, दोज वर आल्सो एड्रेस्ड इन द नोट्स. और कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं कि मैं 10 पेज के नोट्स को पढ़ के हम एक सवाल लिख रहे हैं, नहीं. पिन पॉइंटेड. इनफैक्ट आई वाज वेरी हैप्पी टू मार्क, जिसमें पिछले साल उसी क्वेश्चन को मैंने मार्क किया अपने नोट्स में. In the mains it was asked just like this solution I had uploaded last year also from the notes. तो कुछ क्वेश्चन तो मुझे ऐसे मिले कि जहां पर मैंने पिछली जगह नोट किया है कि ये क्वेश्चन आया है इस साल पीवाईक्यू में, उसी के नीचे मुझे लिखना पड़ा. कुछ क्वेश्चन थे जैसे जो कि मैं अपने समय में व्हेन आई वाज मेकिंग दोज नोट्स आई थॉट कि यार अब मैं ये ज्यादा कर रहा हूँ, दिस मे नॉट बी रिक्वायर्ड, ये कहाँ पूछता है यूपीएससी. But you people are benefiting from that. For example, Husserl versus Descartes, that line, what is the difference between I think of Husserl and I think of Descartes? So then Berkeley ka nominalism, Berkeley ka theory of knowledge. When I was myself making those notes, I thought ki, why will UPSC ask anything other than subjective idealism of Berkeley and Berkeley's refutation of मैटर. इसके अलावा थ्योरी ऑफ नॉलेज क्यों पूछेगा? देखिए कल उन्होंने नॉमिनलिज्म पूछ लिया. इनफैक्ट टू माय shortcoming I should say that I started cutting down on my notes in the previous 1 or 2 batches कि मैं क्लास में सारी चीजें उसमें से कुछ कुछ छोड़ देता था अपने नोट्स का कि इसको रहने देते हैं. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन आई टॉट बर्कले दिस ईयर, तो नॉमिनलिज्म आपको क्लास में मैंने नहीं कराया. मैंने कहा कि एक काम करना, बर्कले का ये पार्ट भी आप एडिशनल देख लेना नोट्स में, आई हैव मेंशन दिस. बर्कले हमने एक्सपेंसिव करा, बट आई सेड कि आई डिड एक्सप्लेन थ्योरी ऑफ नोशंस क्या है, नोशन से वो सोल को जानते हैं ये वो, बट एक पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक जो नोट्स में बना हुआ है उसको मैंने ऐसे डिस्कस नहीं किया. एंड यूपीएससी आस्क्ड, सो आई रेक्टिफाई दैट ऑल्सो कि भाई आई बी 100% ट्रू टू माई नोट्स, कि उसमें जो लिखा है वो आप तक डिलीवर हो जरूर. नॉट रिलाइंग ऑन यू रीडिंग माई नोट्स और प्रिंटेड नोट्स, क्लास में भी उसको डिलीवर करें. सो पेपर वन आई डोंट थिंक देर इज इवन एन आयोटा ऑफ डाउट कि अब पेपर वन में समस्या होगी. ठीक है, पेपर वन हमने मोस्ट पार्ट्स लिख भी लिया है. कंटेम्प्ररी वी हैव रिटन, वेस्टर्न वी हैव रिटन फॉर दिस बैच, इंडियन वी विल राइट नाउ. फ्रॉम दिस सैटरडे वील राइट इंडियन. कुछ पार्ट जो भी किसके भी बचे हैं, जैसे कांट का, हीगल का, आई टेक एक्स्ट्रा सेशंस. एंड थैंक यू श्रुति. Shruti has written, I cannot believe what happened yesterday. You should check our website then. Same thing happened last year. और उससे पहले हम डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं करते थे ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे, बट इट हैज बीन, आई हैव बीन डूइंग दिस सिंस 2020. So only thing is since last 2 years we have started documenting this कि हम डालना चालू कर देते हैं. I used to feel this is kind of an advertisement or something like that. बट कुछ टॉपिक जैसे हीगल है, कांट है, इनको एक्स्ट्रा क्लास लेके कंप्लीट कर लेंगे अभी जस्ट इन दिस वीक ओनली. एंड वील स्टार्ट विथ इंडियन फिलोसफी. Now I'm in two minds whether I should start with Charvaka only or whether we should start with something difficult like we did in the Sudarshan revision. We started with involution, evolution, but I think for some of you it will be very difficult if I start with a difficult topic जिसका कोई भी base नहीं. So I'll start with Charvak. Okay, we'll follow the sequencing as it is given in this syllabus. With respect to paper 2, now some students who are not my students, but I saw them expressing their opinions that paper difficult tha. Like I talked to my main students, they said कि सर हो गया, अच्छा हुआ, ठीक हुआ, etc etc, which is the usual response a student gives जिसने तैयारी करी है. They are not overly joyed कि सब हो गया है, I know everything etc. But they said कि हाँ हो गया है. There were some terms which were slightly difficult, but हम इसी पे तो work कर रहे हैं. Paper 2 is all about understanding the etymological meaning. जैसे मैं इस ये सेशन चालू ही करता हूँ एक क्वेश्चन से, एंड आई वांट सम ऑफ यू टू आइडेंटिफाई कि ये किस थीम पे पूछा है. बहुत डिफिकल्ट लैंग्वेज में, बहुत डिफिकल्ट इंग्लिश में यूपीएससी ने एक सवाल पूछा है, लेकिन उसका थीम कितना इजी है. लेट अस सी इफ एनी ऑफ यू कैन जज. Yes, shall I read 8B question?
Yes, sir. Is it necessary for the normative principles to bear reference to God in order to produce a feeling of obligation in a moral agent? Critically discuss.
Yes. So what is the question? Can you identify the theme?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, is it from proofs for existence of God?
Proofs for existence of God. Anybody else would like to guess?
A religion without God.
Religion without God. Very near guess. मैंने भी फर्स्ट इंस्टेंट जब पहले सवाल देखा तो एग्जैक्टली रिलीजन विदाउट गॉड था, बट व्हेन आई सॉ द क्वेश्चन फॉर द सेकंड टाइम 30 seconds later something else struck me. But you are very near. Yes, अगर कोई एक अच्छी तैयारी करा हुआ बच्चा होगा तो रिलीजन विदाउट गॉड से इस क्वेश्चन को लिखाएगा. लेकिन जब आप इसका हिंदी वर्जन पढ़ेंगे तो आपको समझ आ जाएगा कि किस पे लिखना है. ऊपर वाला पढ़िए.
यस सर. क्या किसी नैतिक अभिकर्ता में कर्तव्य बोध जगाने के लिए नियामक, आदर्श मूलक, नॉर्मेटिव तत्वों के लिए ईश्वर को संदर्भित करना अनिवार्य है? समालोचनात्मक विवेचना कीजिए.
कीजिए. वेरी गुड. सो नैतिक अभिकर्ता में कर्तव्य बोध जगाने के लिए, दिस इज डीलिंग विथ, नाउ यू कैन गेस दिस टॉपिक. Yes.
So question is it possible to have religion without God? Morality.
Partly you will write from religion without God also. Part that God is a necessary relation and contingent relation, वो आप part content लिखेंगे. लेकिन to produce a feeling of obligation in a moral agent and normative principles to bear reference to God. So this was giving an indication कि ये तो religion without God का question है. And to some sense you can write part from religion without God. कौन सा part? जहां पर भी हम, I'll just show. This relation between religion and God, necessary relation, contingent relation. लेकिन here this is about God and religion. The question was saying moral agent and God. So God is representing what? Religion and versus morality. ये जैसे ही decode आपने किया, could you have written the relation between religion and morality? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What are the relations? जल्दी बता दीजिए. What are the relations between religion and morality? What are the possible relations? Shave. विकास, बहुत सिंपल है यार ये तो. What is the relation between religion and morality? There are only three
They
possible.
provide motivation to follow on
अरे
religion.
नहीं यार. What are the main headings for relation between religion and morality? Religion and morality are interdependent. Second relation, morality is autonomous. Third, religion is independent of morality. यही तो तीन relation पढ़े हमने. Yes.
Yes, sir.
और यूपीएससी क्या सवाल पूछ रही थी? It was asking on whether for an individual to follow the normative principles or obligation as a moral agent is reference to God necessary. So yes, it is necessary from this perspective that religion and morality are interdependent. Where morality refines religion and religion depends morality. But we will say that religion is independent of morality. More importantly, there is autonomy of morality, where we will discuss about Kant. यही तो possible तीन relations थे, interdependence between religion and morality. Yes or
Sir,
no?
पहले religion without God mention करना है कि पहले religion and morality?
नहीं, रिलीजन, और आप बताएंगे कि रिलीजन का क्या, रिलीजन और गॉड का क्या रोल है एज अ सब टेक्स्ट टू दिस. अगर आप सिर्फ और सिर्फ इसको, विच वॉज इवन माई प्राइमरी इंस्टिक्ट इन दिस क्वेश्चन, कि नहीं इसको रिलीजन और गॉड से लिख देते हैं, लेकिन a second reading of the question told me कि नहीं, something is amiss, and then when I saw the Hindi version, then it became even more clear. Is it necessary for the normative principles to be a reference to God? What is the normative principles referring to? You know, in ethics, there are normative principles. Yes or no? Are there norms in ethics or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. तो इसलिए थोड़ा सा PYQ एनालिसिस टर्म अंडरस्टैंडिंग पेपर 2 में बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्वेश्चन बहुत आसान आता है, सिर्फ और सिर्फ थैंक यू नैना. नैना इज सेइंग शी इज अ प्राउड सब्सक्राइबर. So again, let us do these questions one by one, and let me show you that the questions are very, very doable, very much from the notes. Plus, in fact, even Aryan ne, for whatever inefficiency in his fluency as a beginner in teaching, even the topics he took democracy, he took Marxism, he took development and social progress. 1 का डी पढ़िए शैवे.
Yes, sir. Comment on Plato's critique of democracy.
So did he discuss in democracy topic?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Then 2 का बी पढ़िए.
Evaluate Marxism as a political ideology.
Yes.
Discussed, sir.
So he took Marxism as well as its criticism. Don't worry, I'll take these topics in detail. But even during Sudarshan revision, he took those topics, right? क्योंकि हमने इसको सुदर्शन में चूज किया था. जैसे हमने स्टेट्स में जो है वी हैड चूजन फॉर्म्स ऑफ गवर्नमेंट में वी हैड चोजन फीचर्स, सिग्निफिकेंस एंड चैलेंजेस ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी. देन पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजीज में वी हैड टेकन ओनली मार्क्सिज्म. Development and social progress. Let us see what is the question with respect to development and social progress. 3 का सी पढ़िए.
Is it possible to reconcile the concept of development with tribal values to bring social and economic
progress? So basically the reconciliation of development and social progress. Tribal तो एक मान लीजिए उन्होंने addendum दे दिया है, but आपको tribal values पता होंगी अपने society से. For example, tribal values believe in kinship, tribal values believe in role of family, tribal values believe in matriarchy, patriarchy, tribal values believe in community values, or they value equality more than liberty. So जनरली ट्राइब के क्या वैल्यूज हैं वो आपको पता होता है, उसको यूज करके आपको डेवलपमेंट और सोशल प्रोग्रेस टॉपिक को लिख देना था. Then now let us discuss one by one. First question: corrupt practices reveal an inherent tension between particularistic and universalistic normative standards. Do you agree with this statement? Give reasons for your answer. So again, particularistic and universalistic normative standards. Universalistic normative standards, you have to refer again, you have to think कि ये ethics का सवाल नहीं है, ये आपके पेपर 2 का सवाल है. You can borrow from your philosophy syllabus. अब कौन से टॉपिक से आप borrow करेंगे? Where are universalistic normative standards and particularistic normative standards mentioned in your philosophy syllabus?
Corruption.
हाँ, करप्शन में तो है ही, करप्शन का तो सवाल दिख ही रहा है, लेकिन वहां पर पर्टिकुलरिस्टिक और नॉर्मेटिव स्टैंडर्ड्स कहाँ मेंशन होते हैं? दैट्स नॉट मेंशन इन करप्शन टॉपिक. Okay, I'll tell you 2 names. Tell me which of them is particularistic and which of them is universalistic. Deontology and consequentialism, or deontology and utilitarianism. Which of them is universalistic normative standard and which of them is particularistic?
Utilitarianism is universalistic.
यूटिलिटेरियन, सो वो फिलोसफी कहती है ग्रेटेस्ट बेनिफिट ऑफ ग्रेटेस्ट नंबर. That number can be anything beyond 50%, it can be 51%. It's not greatest benefit of everybody, it is greatest benefit of greatest number. Is it a universalistic value? Okay, let me give you a counter term. Sarvodaya, is that universalistic, or utilitarian is universalistic?
Sarvodaya is universalistic.
So Kant's deontology, duty for the sake of duty, Kant's categorical imperative, his postulates on morality, why morality is ought to, why you ought to be moral, that is universalistic. Kant वहां पर ये नहीं कहते कि पनिशमेंट आपको इसलिए देना चाहिए बिकॉज टू क्रिएट सम काइंड ऑफ डेटरेंस, पनिशमेंट कोई रिफॉर्म के लिए नहीं देना चाहिए. पनिशमेंट इज सिंपली फॉर द सेक ऑफ राइटिंग अ रॉन्ग. It is retributive theory. It is because life, you punish a murderer not to teach him a lesson or teach society a lesson, etc., but Life as a value should be respected. So आपके यूनिवर्सलिस्टिक, जब ये हमने डिकोड कर लिया अपने एथिक्स के पार्ट से, तो हम करप्शन से जोड़ देंगे। तो एक तरफ क्या है, पर्टिकुलरिस्टिक वैल्यूज है, भाई भतीजावाद की। So you will be talking this everything this, that is why corruption, again, not to blow my own trumpet or anything, I did not teach corruption in philosophy, I did not teach corruption in ethics. I taught last year corruption as a combined topic in ethics and philosophy. We did corruption as a combined topic from three parts of our syllabus. One was socio-political philosophy, the next was ethics topic, and the last one was GS3 इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी। इन तीनों को अप्रोच को कंबाइंड करके हमने करप्शन टॉपिक किया था। इफ यू विल सी, आई थिंक इट माइट स्टिल बी देयर इफ आई हैव एक्सेस टू दी सोशियो सॉरी to the internal security notes if I have of mains. Can you see? Okay. Yes. Can you see the topic here? So हमने
Yes,
इसको
sir.
करा इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी में, बिकॉज आई वहां पर एक मैं लाइन कहता हूँ कि करप्शन इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट थ्रेट टू इंडियाज इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी। फिर उसमें हमने सोशियो पॉलिटिकल भी जोड़ दिया, उसमें हमने एथिक्स भी जोड़ दिया। व्हाट आर द एथिकल कॉजेज ऑफ करप्शन, व्हाट आर द एथिकल सॉल्यूशंस टू करप्शन, कोड ऑफ एथिक्स, ये वो दुनिया भर की बातें सारी वहां कर ली, सेग्रीगेटेड नहीं कराया। अब यूपीएससी ने वो चीज जो है, अगेन इट इज प्योरली कोइंसिडेंस, इट्स नॉट लाइक I am Superman to be guessing at this level. That's just impossible and absurd. But the idea is that you have to see topics from the holistic perspective. ये क्या query है? इतना भी holistic नहीं है कि GS2 कराने लगे in paper 2. So first question therefore was simply a debate between particularistic and universalistic normative. Particularistic values जो हो जाएंगे, that will be your जिसको आप कहेंगे कि your private values, your responsibility towards your family, the ethical dilemmas with respect to that. Universalistic values, merit, fairness, dedication towards public service, all these are universalistic. Rule of law, these are universalistic normative standards. तो करप्शन जो है इन दोनों के बीच में, यस इट इज डेफिनेटली अ डिलेमा बिटवीन दीज टू व्हेन यू आर नॉट एबल टू बैलेंस। अब आप यहाँ पर फिलोसफी में कैसे लिखेंगे, यहाँ पर आप रॉल्स को लिखेंगे, रॉल्स का प्रिंसिपल, विच यू राइट विच प्रिंसिपल, रॉल्स जस्टिस एस फेयरनेस। यू हियर यू विल टॉक अबाउट द प्रोसीजर, और प्रोसीजर कैसा होना चाहिए, फ्रॉम द वेल ऑफ ignorance. You should not be knowing कि ये इससे किसको बेनिफिट होगा. You will avoid the particularistic, because isn't Rawls justice principle, is it universal or particularistic? Is it an ideal theory of justice or a particular theory to address a particular injustice? Yes,
Ideal theory.
it is an ideal theory. तो यहाँ पर आप Rawls लिखेंगे, आप कांट का deontology लिखेंगे. Many times you will say that there are excuses based on consequentialism. The law recognizes इंडियन लॉ, आप इंडियन लॉ का भी एग्जांपल देंगे कि लॉ रिकॉग्नाइज करता है कि पर्टिकुलरिस्टिक करप्शन अब चलेगा नहीं, विच इज कॉल्ड एज कोलूसिव ब्राइब। कोअर्सिव ब्राइब तो हमेशा सही क्राइम था कि आप किसी से जबरदस्ती नहीं मांग सकते पैसा, लेकिन कोलूसिव ब्राइब, व्हेन देयर इज अ काइंड ऑफ नेक्सस बिटवीन द ब्राइब गिवर एंड ब्राइब टेकर, ऐसे वाला भी जब क्राइम हो, करप्शन होगा, वो भी जस्टिफाइड नहीं है, दैट इज पनिशेबल बाय प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट। आप ये कंटेम्पररी से जोड़ के ये एग्जांपल लिखेंगे यहाँ पे, ठीक है। सो क्वेश्चन 1 देयरफॉर a kind of easy question, but you have to avoid falling into the pitfall of GS4 ethics answer. You have to write from philosophy paper 2 answer. You will go into the etymological meaning corrupt from the word corruptus. You will be writing various thinkers. You will write Gandhiji. What does Gandhiji say on corruption? You will write about Kautilya's view on corruption, etc. Basically thinker के perspective से, plus आप इसको link करेंगे with other parts of paper 2. आप paper 1 से भी link कर सकते हैं कि what are the linkages with this corruption and Indian and Western philosophy. Corruption can be akin to ignorance, avidya, but this is basically non-discrimination between what is permanent and what is temporary. Particularistic values are temporary. Money, greed, etc. Materialistic values, these are temporary. So you can try to make some kind of link. सेकेंड क्वेश्चन बहुत ही इजी था, अगर आपको सिर्फ थीम आइडेंटिफाई हो जाए तो. हाउ डज जेंडर एज अ सोशल कंस्ट्रक्ट अफेक्ट इंडिविजुअल्स अपॉर्चुनिटीज, राइट्स एंड एक्सेस टू रिसोर्सेज? क्रिटिकली डिस्कस. यस. फ्रॉम विच टॉपिक?
Gender discrimination.
Yes, gender discrimination. In fact, when we were doing women as a theme, so we wrote about what is the difference between sex and gender. And what was the definition that we wrote? What is the difference between sex and gender? Can anybody reiterate the difference between sex and gender?
So one is individual approach and one is societal approach to seeing this.
Okay. Anybody else?
So sex is biological and gender is societal.
Yes, sex is biological, highlighted by the genetic markers XX and XY and secondary sexual characteristics. Whereas gender is a social construct based on assigning of roles, different roles and responsibilities to men and women. We have seen the Oxford Dictionary meaning. फिर वहां पर हमने एरिस्टोटल के आर्गुमेंट्स देखे थे फॉर सपोर्टिंग जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. वी हैड सीन द काउंटर आर्गुमेंट्स, सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. एंड देन यू हैव टू लिंक विथ individuals' opportunities, rights and access to resources. Okay, so in detail I'll be taking a session this week only from purely socio-political philosophy. वहां पर हम feminism, first wave, second wave, third wave देखेंगे. We'll discuss personal is political. We will discuss a woman is not born, she's made, Simon Beauvoir. So we'll discuss all that and it will become even more easy. Exactly जो ये लिखा हुआ है exactly आप ये लिख पाएंगे, even irrespective of your women as a theme that we have studied. Okay. Third question, is the idea of secularism necessarily related with the idea of religious pluralism? Very easy question. It has linked two parts of your syllabus. Can you identify the two parts of the syllabus linked? One is so easy, secularism. Religious pluralism is part of? Yes.
Problem of absolute truth.
Very good. Problem of absolute truth. So एक religious approach to absolute truth is religious pluralism. That is many paths to reality, or recognition of or mutual respect of many paths. Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti, yatho mat tatho path. As many beliefs, so many paths. So it has borrowed from your paper 2 syllabus and applied it to a paper 1. Sorry, it has borrowed from paper 2 section B, philosophy of religion, and applied it to your socio-political part. Secularism का positive concept ही है ये. आर्टिकल 25 सेकुलरिज्म कम्स फ्रॉम द वर्ड सेकुलरिस, प्रोसेस ऑफ सेकुलराइजेशन लिखेंगे आप. प्रोसेस ऑफ सेकुलराइजेशन के बाद सेकुलर आउटलुक, रिलीजियस वैल्यूज हैव गॉन डाउन, देयर इज इक्वल रिस्पेक्ट फॉर स्टेट, डज नॉट हैव सर्व धर्म संभाव, इंडियन सेकुलरिज्म, वेस्टर्न सेकुलरिज्म. यू विल राइट ऑल दैट कंटेंट. प्रॉब्लम ऑफ एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ में आपको रिलीजियस प्लूरलिज्म का मतलब जो है बहुत डिटेल में समझाया हुआ है. For your benefit, I'll repeat it once again. ये राधा कृष्णन व्यू ऑफ रिलीजन भी पूछा है. This again, it is part of our philosophy of religion notes. It has been asked elsewhere. I'll just show that. So this is religious pluralism and religious relativism. Ekam sat vipra bauddha vadanti. John Hicks hypothesis. Then Kant's distinction between noumena and phenomena. The duck rabbit picture. Then Jainism's the six blind men and the elephant. Then Radha Krishnan's unity of all religions. Radha Krishnan wanted greater than mere reconciliation. He wanted that man as a whole mankind should be at one plane. He should be on the tree of Sachidanand, growing immeasurable fruits like Rama, Krishna, Christ. Gold is one, but it can assume various forms, ornaments. It is like water. It is like water in different languages, Jal, Pani. Then there is, so this is Ram Krishna, not Radha Krishna. Radha Krishnan's view we will see in unity of all religions. This my mistake, not Ram Krishna instead of Radha Krishna. Radha Krishnan's view you will be studying in unity of all religions, and especially his arguments with respect to conversion. He was anti-conversion. So Dr. Radhakrishnan will say every religion is true and all paths lead to God. No individual can live without his personal and traditional memory. There is no inner development or natural progress in new religion. So अभी यूपीएससी ने देखिए राधा कृष्णन पे भी एक सवाल पूछा है. Evaluate the nature and object of religious experience as explained by Radhakrishnan in the Hindu view of life. तो अब इन्होंने नेचर ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ रिलीजियस एक्सपीरियंस पूछ लिया और पूछ लिया राधा कृष्णन के उससे. तो अब हमको इनका एग्जैक्ट तो नहीं पता होता. अगर हम सिर्फ नेचर एंड ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ रिलीजियस एक्सपीरियंस पढ़ते तो उसमें हम इंडियन एंड वेस्टर्न पढ़ते हैं या ईस्टर्न और वेस्टर्न पढ़ते हैं. लेकिन स्पेशली किसी पर्टिकुलर फिलोसोफर के नाम से कि इनका क्या व्यू है नहीं पढ़ते हैं. लेकिन राधा कृष्णन को हमने प्रॉब्लम ऑफ एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ में पढ़ा है कि इनका रिलीजन के बारे में क्या व्यू है, व्हाट इज यूनिटी ऑफ ऑल रिलीजन्स. वी नो दैट ही इज अ Advaitin. He has written he has written 2 volumes on Indian philosophy and he subscribes to Adi Shankaracharya's view. तो इतना ही पता होता, फिर उसके बाद आपको नेचर एंड ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ रिलीजियस एक्सपीरियंस में आप फिर वहां पर आप लिंक कर लेते. बिकॉज नेचर एंड ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ रिलीजियस एक्सपीरियंस उसमें हमको अद्वैत के लिए एक अलग कैटेगरी बनी हुई है. So you can write it is a form of impersonal mysticism. That also you can write, or you can write that even monism is a part of nature of religious object can be Brahman, it can be Nirgun, Nirankar, etc. All those parts you can write. और वहां पर आप ये भी लिखेंगे कि आदि शंकराचार्य को कहा जाता है हिडियस एथिस्ट, बट यू विल राइट राधा कृष्णन्स ट्रिब्यूट दैट आदि शंकराचार्य इज द मोस्ट theist man to have ever walked on earth. So idea again is UPSC is trying to make the paper too difficult only with the sense कि 2 topics को link कर देते हैं just to confuse you. या आप थोड़ा बहुत भी पता हो कि भाई राधा कृष्णन किस व्यू को सब्सक्राइब करते थे वो पता चल गया कि भाई ये अद्वैत को सब्सक्राइब करते हैं, तो नेचर एंड ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ रिलीजियस एक्सपीरियंस अद्वैत के हिसाब से लिख दीजिए. मोनिज्म और नॉन डुअलिज्म, इट इज ऑल्सो मेंशन इन योर पर्सनल मिस्टिसिज्म पार्ट. Coming back, so comment on Plato's critique of democracy. Very easy, perhaps the most easiest question in this. Plus, most of the people who study democracy, its evolution of democracy, they study it from Plato, Aristotle, and then later parts. And you will study in between Hobbes, and then you will study the modern Western from Locke and others, plus the Indian versions also. So his critique of democracy is well founded, and why he also criticized that is also established. It's not like he's anti-democratic. It's just that it was not one of those times, and that is why he will be talking about the philosopher king. Okay, then salient features of equality according to J.S. Mill. Again, one of the most easiest question. Equality का J.S. Mill पे positive. You study J.S. Mill not just in equality, you study him in liberty also, in positive liberty topic. Yes, he is an egalitarian, but हम इनको liberty में भी पढ़ते हैं. So question number 1, D and E, they are the most easiest in socio-political, क्योंकि ये prepared है, everybody prepares. अगर equality topic पढ़ेंगे तो egalitarians का view पढ़ेंगे, egalitarian में then you write the view of J.S. Mill. Come to the second. Present a detailed account of debate between Gandhi and Ambedkar on the issue of caste discrimination. Even more easy than D and E. 2 का A. Is it more easy or not? Is this 20 marks secured where you can get very, very high marks out of this 20? Yes.
Yes, sir.
In fact, हमने सुदर्शन में भी इसको रिवाइज किया था. Even during the Sudarshan revision class, we revised Gandhi and Ambedkar. अगर सोशियो पॉलिटिकल में आप देखें, so we had taken Gandhi and Ambedkar. And we revised, क्योंकि बार बार मैं कहता था कि भाई एक ही पेज का ये नोट्स है, एक ही पेज का नोट्स है, एक ही पेज में हो जाता है. आई थिंक इट वाज द लास्ट टॉपिक ऑफ इक्वालिटी, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग. Yes, Dr. Ambedkar on equality, Gandhiji's view, the comparison between two, evaluation of Gandhiji, then a comparative thing, Dr. Ambedkar on caste, Gandhiji on caste, Dr. Ambedkar on religion, Gandhiji on religion, on reform, etc., and then finally conclusion. So again, very sure short, और 2-3 पेज में जो लिखा जा सके, 2-3 पेज के नोट से. That was the difficulty level for this question. Evaluate Marx as a political ideology. I'll just show from his notes only. I think he has taken, and he has just based it on O.P. Gauba. We'll do even from much better source, but O.P. Gauba is a good book because O.P. Gauba has also written socio-political theory. फिलोसफी में बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे टॉपिक्स नहीं है, लेकिन कुछ टॉपिक्स लाइक आई ऑल्सो बेस माई लिबर्टी, इक्वालिटी, जस्टिस, some of these topics, my primary source is also O.P. Gauba, but then I add things from some other sources. He has also written Marxism, plus he has discussed about the political ideology of Marxism. I saw where he had made a comparison, Marxist view of the state and ideology. I had also seen that he had made a comparison, this table, in which there was his view on state. So वो ऊपर का आप लिख देते मार्क्सिस्ट व्यू ऑफ स्टेट एंड आइडियोलॉजी, ये टेबल बना देते. क्रिटिसिज्म हमको लिखना है, overemphasis on economic determinism, prediction of an inevitable capitalist collapse. Then dictatorship of proletariat leads to authoritarianism. Countries like China, state will never wither away. Reduction of Marx humanist idealism into dogmatic tenets. Within one page, you could have easily written an answer, even by what was done in a revision class by R. Okay. Coming back, there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Discuss this statement in light of Kautilya's view on sovereignty. Can we write this? So from D only, from D, E, A, B, C, this is around 50 marks plus 2, 70 marks. ये 70 marks में हम बहुत अच्छा स्कोर कर सकते थे या नहीं? Yes. There is no permanent friend or permanent enemy. Have we done the Dand Niti and have we done the Saptang theory? Yes. Yes or no? How many of you remember the Saptang theory? Nobody remembers. Yes, UPSC in my blood says yes, sir. Obviously. So one of the things is about Kootaniti. He'll talk about Raja. He'll talk about his friends. He'll talk about enemy. He'll talk about enemies. Enemy is my friend. He'll also talk about Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. He'll also talk about, याद है हमने एक सर्कल भी कराया था? Yes. मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir.
So then are you people sleeping? या रिवाइज नहीं किया? Cotton. So we had done this semicircles also, or rather concentric circles of power. और उनके बीच में क्या रिलेशन है वो भी क्या था, ये डायग्राम बनाते आपको और अच्छा मार्क्स मिलता. Then 3A, can one's right to life be absolute? Answer with reference to idea of capital punishment. So very easy to identify the theme, that is crime and punishment. In fact, जब इस साल जब आप लोगों को पढ़ाया था तो कैपिटल पनिशमेंट एज अ टॉपिक बाय चांस आई मिस्ड इन द क्लास, तो मैंने कुछ दिन बाद 2-4 दिन बाद कैपिटल पनिशमेंट को लिया था सेपरेटली. So basically, can one's right to life be absolute? In what cases it will not be absolute? Yes. So if the crime is of the nature which is inhuman, like terrorism, like espionage, like treason, can your right to life be taken? Yes. Yes or no? I'll just check that exact material. Yes. So these were some quotes. Crime and punishment is a reflection of social consciousness of the day. As societies progress, many crimes are decriminalized and many new ones are added. Then what is capital punishment? In common parlance, it is death penalty. It is pronounced by judicial verdict as per procedure established by law for violation of an existing offense whose punishment is by death. Then arguments against death penalty. We also gave ethical arguments against death penalty. फिर हमने arguments for retention of death penalty में पहली line में ही कहा था that all these arguments are accepted, but when the nature of crime like mass violence, genocide, terrorism, there is indiscriminate killing of innocent, in all such cases all the arguments for abolition of death penalty do not apply, or abolition of death penalty simply means your right to life is not absolute. When there is heinous crimes against women like gang rape, female feticide, which are not born out of poverty or ignorance, there cannot be any psychological or sociological explanation. In such cases also arguments for death penalty do not apply. There are some crimes like espionage, hijacking, which directly threat the country's sovereignty. Therefore, death penalty is allowed in such cases. Or you will write, right to life is not absolute. And according to Chief Justice of India, punishment serves three purposes: reform of criminal, justice to the victim, enhanced social solidarity and beliefs. फिर यहाँ पे मैंने कहा था कि इनको जो है ट्रेडिशनल आर्ग्यूमेंट्स लाइक डेटरेंस थ्योरी, रेट्रिब्यूटिव थ्योरी, सोशल सॉलिडारिटी थ्योरी से भी जस्टिफाई कर दीजिएगा that your right to life is not absolute. Or I had not said right to life is not absolute, I had said death penalty is justified. Conclusion में हम ये लिखेंगे that with the expanding frontiers of human knowledge, sociology and psychology, the trend towards humanizing penal system is growing in the civilized world, but it would be too optimistic to suggest that the punishment should be abolished. Tell me, is it very difficult question? You had to study lot of material, 100 pages material? Yes. Chavya, Vikas, Deepesh. No. How does reconciliation of the opposites takes place in humanism of Tagore? Now, humanism as a topic, even I revised during your Sudarshan class. Did we discuss Tagore's humanism? Yes. Yes, no. I think बाकी लोग तो नहीं थे. Shavya, Dipesh, Amita, I think these people were present. Did we discuss humanism?
Sorry, your voice.
My voice is not audible. Is my
Sir,
voice
it
audible?
broke in between. Now it is fine. Yes, sir.
Okay. So during our even this before, just before the exams, when we were doing the Sudarshan revision, did we discuss Tagore or Tagore's humanism? आप मत बोलिए yes. I already have. So I had taken humanism and we had discussed Tagore's concept of humanism. And Tagore talked about that your humanism is suppressed by the government and other organs of power. आप जो है he identified two aspects of human being: physical existence and spiritual existence. Physically, he is part of nature, part of government, part of laws. But spiritually, he is at the level of divine spiritual existence, where he is capable of individual existence, which cannot be supported by external forces. This is the source of freedom. He said your uh, existence as it is at the physical level and at the spiritual level. Physical level, you may be part of any country. Physical level, you may belong to any religion. You may be belonging to you will be limiting yourself to the laws. But at the spiritual level, you are independent. You are just an individual. There are no external forces. That is freedom. And he talked about synthetic universalism. सिंथेटिक के बजाय मैंने उस दिन आपको कहा भी था कि सिंक्रेटिक है. So when people evolve their political into different nations, rivalry between the nations tends to obstruct the mental and moral development. Each nation resorts to regimentation of thought of its people. To rise to freedom of each individual, you should rise before narrow nationalism. अब यूपीएससी का सवाल भी देख लीजिए. दिस इज ऑल अबाउट हिम. इस साल मान लीजिए टैगोर पूछा है, अगले साल विवेकानंद पूछ देंगे. एंड द क्वेश्चन वाज, how does the reconciliation of opposites take place in the humanism of Tagore? So he's talking about syncretic universalism. You are reconciling the differences in sovereignty. You are reconciling the differences between individual and state. You are reconciling the differences between multicultural societies. You are seeing yourself as an individual. Your plane of existence is two, physical and spiritual. At the physical level, you may be bound by these external opposites. At the divine level, at the spiritual level, is where you see your freedom as an individual. Okay. Then is it possible to reconcile the development concept of development with tribal values? Again, an easy question. आपको बस डेवलपमेंट का मतलब क्या है, सोशल प्रोग्रेस का मतलब क्या है, दोनों को कैसे जोड़ा जा सकता है, ट्राइबल वैल्यूज क्या है, इतना ही पता होता, आप ये सवाल लिख लेते. And development and social progress, again a very low hanging fruit. 3 or 4 pages notes are there. What is development, what is social progress, what is Vivekanand's view of development, what is Nehru's view of development, what is Gandhi's view of development and social progress, plus some Western thinkers, and it's done. So it's not a very difficult topic. Then, how are both liberty and equality inadequate as social and political ideals without justice? So liberty के लिए तो आप बता दीजिए. Liberty without justice will become what? Liberty will become license. That is one part. And second, state will become, अगर state justice ना दे तो क्या हो जाएगा? Yes. Yes. State will become authoritarian. So there is reasonable restrictions on both. These reasonable restrictions are from the conception of justice. Plus इक्वालिटी में तो हमने डिटेल में डिस्कस किया था द रिलेशन बिटवीन इक्वालिटी एंड जस्टिस. इनफैक्ट जस्टिस टॉपिक का जो पहला कोट ही था आपके नोट्स में, जस्टिस टॉपिक ने जस्टिस और इक्वालिटी के बीच में जो डिबेट है, justice is a name to which every knee will bow इक्वालिटी इज अ वर्ड विच मेनी फियर एंड डिटेस्ट। और आपको क्लास में भी इसी राजा का आपको नाम बताया था, इक्वालिटी विदाउट जेन्युइन सेंस ऑफ जस्टिस लूजेस इट्स एसेंस एंड बिकम्स अ सोर्स ऑफ ऑपरेशन। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ अ किंग चूजेस टू शूट एवरी वन ऑफ हिज सब्जेक्ट्स विदाउट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन and decides to shoot himself in the end, he might be claiming to follow the rule of equality, but his decision will be termed crazy. दूसरा हमने ये भी कहा था कि मान लीजिए कोई आपको एक झापड़ मार देता है and then somebody says that I am giving you justice, go and beat that person. That is not the conception of justice. Justice is your right to be protected. So if somebody hits on my head, there is no consolation for me to be told that I have equal power and liberty to hit him back. Rather, I want equality for my security, a positive benefit, and not my ability of revenge, which is not morally justifiable by any theory of punishment. Then Aristotle has said that justice consists in treating equals equally and unequals unequally. However, Aristotle warned that कुछ लोग हैं जो अगर कुछ चीजों में इक्वल हैं तो वो हर चीजों में इक्वल चाहेंगे. दिस विल बी द बेसिस ऑफ रिबेलियन फ्रॉम अ फीलिंग ऑफ deprivation and sense of injustice. Hobbes said that the state of nature was a state of natural equality, matsya nyay, and therefore social contract came, which brought sense of justice to this natural equality. When we consider the relation between equality and justice, different principles apply. फिर हायक कहते हैं कि सोशल जस्टिस इज अ मिराज. व्हेन यू पुट इक्वालिटी ओवर लिबर्टी, बोथ आर लॉस्ट. In summary, principle of inequality is inseparable from the principle of justice. Then there is libertarian perspective of justice और liberty versus justice. इन दोनों को लिखना था, लेकिन liberty versus justice को आप easily जो है simply by the scope of liberty, when liberty becomes license and when state becomes authoritarian, both of them happens without the sense of justice, वहां से लिख सकते थे. आप चाहें तो लिबर्टेरियन के व्यू से भी लिख सकते थे, बहुत पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव. बट पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव लिबर्टी से लिखने में आपका समय जाता. आप फिर इक्वालिटी जो आपका प्रिपेयर्ड था वेल में आपके नोट्स में, उसको लिखने में आपको कम समय मिलता. ओके, सो then this completes question number 4a. Can theocracy be accepted as a valid form of government? Give reasons for justification. Again, a very straightforward answer, just like Plato's critique of democracy, गांधी वर्सेस अंबेडकर. तो इसलिए ही मैं कह रहा हूँ कि जो लोग ये ओपिनियन दे रहे हैं कि पेपर 2 थोड़ा भी डिफिकल्ट आया, इनफैक्ट आई विल से इट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट डायरेक्ट पेपर्स इन रिसेंट ईयर्स. वरना सोशियो पॉलिटिकल इतना डायरेक्ट आता नहीं था, जहां पर कि सिलेबस से डायरेक्ट पूछ रहे हैं. So very direct question, theocracy be accepted as a valid, basically the evaluation of theocracy as a form of government. 4 का सी देखिए, duties are of the nature of obligation whereas rights are of the nature of entitlement. There is no necessary connection between the two. Do you agree with this statement? Give reasons. You will say rights and duties are interconnected, rights and duties are correlative, they are necessarily linked. और उसके बाद आप लिखेंगे that rights over duties, Dr. Ambedkar and Nehru's view, Dr. Ambedkar's view, and duties over rights, Nehru and Gandhiji's view. So they are necessarily related, and you will also give the view, individual and state rights and duties. So there is a linking between even the rights and duties of state and individual. वो part भी आप justification देंगे. You will write about the debate. आप ये भी लिख सकते हैं कि पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी में एक डिबेट होता है बिटवीन डीपीएसपीज एंड फंडामेंटल राइट. डीपीएसपीज आर द ड्यूटीज ऑफ द स्टेट, फंडामेंटल राइट्स आर द ड्यूटीज ऑफ द सिटीजन. वहां पर भी डिबेट है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू आर्टिकल 14, 19 वर्सेस 39 बी एंड सी. दीप यादव हैज रिटन. आपको ये याद कैसे रहता है? इट इज बिकॉज इन माय अनदर लाइफ टाइम आई टीच पॉलिटी आल्सो, दैट इज व्हाई. सो दैट कंप्लीट्स आवर paper 2 part A. Paper 2 part B, philosophy of religion. Again, UPSC is trying to basically camouflage behind thinkers or behind less common known words, but आपको theme identify करना था, and we could have written the answer. Discuss Charvak's critique of the belief in existence of सुपर सेंसिबल एंटिटीज। अब मुझे ये बताइए कि ये पेपर 2 में पूछा है, पेपर 1 में आपके क्या नाम है इस टॉपिक का? यस, रेफ्यूटेशन ऑफ चारवाक्स, रेफ्यूटेशन ऑफ ट्रांसेंडेंटल एंटिटीज। लेकिन पेपर 2 में क्यों पूछ लिया ये आपसे? यस,
critique for proofs of existence.
करेक्ट, एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट। क्रिटिक्स फॉर proofs for existence of God. Plus, you could have also written something about from the soul immortality topic, क्योंकि सोल भी इमोर्टल नहीं है, वहां पर भी उसके आर्गुमेंट दिए जाते हैं, देयर इज नथिंग एज एनी परमानेंट सोल। लाइक जहां पर इस व्यक्ति ने लिखा है देह आत्मवाद भूत चैतन्यवाद, सिर्फ इसी पे नहीं बेस करना, ये तो पेपर 1 का आंसर हो जाएगा। देह आत्मवाद एंड भूत चैतन्यवाद हमको मेंशन करना है जस्ट from paper 2 context. When we'll talk about soul immortality, arguments against immortality of soul, there we will say Charvaka says this, that soul is nothing but conscious body. Consciousness is also material in origin. They give example of betel nut, erica, and the red color produced. Okay, so again, just trying to twist you or to offset you. However, question was not difficult. Is religious language symbolic? Give reasons in support of your answer. So who says religious language is symbolic? Yes. So religious language topic में दो ही चीजें हैं आपके सिलेबस में, रिलीजियस नॉलेज इज कॉग्निटिव, नॉन कॉग्निटिव। कॉग्निटिव कहने वाले कुछ लोग हैं, नॉन कॉग्निटिव कहने वाले लोग हैं, लेकिन इनके बीच में एक लोग हैं जो कहते हैं कि रिलीजियस स्टेटमेंट इज सूडो कॉग्निटिव। उस सूडो कॉग्निटिव में दो लोग आ जाते हैं, वन इज एक्विनास, he comes up with religious knowledge is analogical. The other is Tillich, he says religious language is symbolic. So Paul Tillich, symbolic language, and why it is symbolic language, and he also makes a distinction between signs and symbols. Okay, plus इसमें आपको ये मिलेगा कैसे कि why religious language is neither cognitive non cognitive, that part you will be getting answer when we are discussing religious assertions as analogical statement. उसमें points लिखे हुए, a good many Western theologians do not regard theistic statements to be literally about God. Sorry, my mistake. A good many Western theologians do not regard theistic statements to be literally about God. It is because religious presumptions like God being transcendent and hence, at least in theory, they are unknowable. So there are ways to know this unknowable God. There are ways to know the deistic God, that is through analogy or through symbols. So religious statements are not analytical or empirical, they are rather एनालॉजिकल के बजाय आप कर देंगे सिंबॉलिक, और यहाँ पर आप लिख देंगे पॉल टिलिच व्यू, एंड देन रेस्ट ऑफ द कंटेंट यू विल राइट फ्रॉम पॉल टिलिच religious language is symbolic. Because Tillich, like Aquinas, was a theologian who believed that God is transcendent, but he had to reconcile how a transcendent God has relation with the world. Tillich rejects Aquinas' analogical relation and says man is related to God through symbols. यहाँ पे आपको दो पैराग्राफ से जो यूपीएससी ने पूछा है कि why it is symbolic, that part you can answer. Is religious language symbolic? Yes, it is symbolic. और सबसे पहले आप इंट्रोडक्शन में ये वाली चीज बना सकते हैं with respect to religious language. The debate about nature of religious language is not concerned with whether or not God exists or what are his attributes or is there evil in the world. Rather, it is solely concerned with the working out whether or not religious language means anything. Some people say they mean anything, some people say they don't mean anything, and there are some people who are in between. They are called pseudo-cognitivists, like Aquinas' Analogia Entatis, and on the other side there is Tillich, symbolic language. Next question. Now, this is an interesting question. Present an account of Nietzsche's criticism of religion and morality. I don't think यूपीएससी के फील्ड में फिलोसफी में तो नीड्जे, रिलीजन में तो करा भी देते होंगे गॉड इज डेड, बट नीड्जे's व्यू ऑन मोरालिटी शायद ही कोई कराता हो. And I am also not claiming to have done this question, although I have discussed this thing somewhere else. एक टॉपिक है सोरेन कियरकेगार्ड, in which I discussed truth is subjective. So I discussed subjectivity of truth. ये आपके सिलेबस में भी मेंशन है, कियरकेगार्ड के लिए डिस्कस करते हैं. यहीं पर मैंने एक कंपैरिजन करवाया था नीड्जे और सात्रे. And Nietzsche says truth is perspectival. Knowledge and truth are provisional. They change with those who are. They change over time with the ruling. In the book Will to Power, Nietzsche declares that there are many kinds of truths and consequently there is no truth. You could have simply modified this and written a question on morality. Yes or no? बताइए. Yes. Plus, in Satre topic, when we were doing Satre, I had said that repeatedly कि Satre कई लोगों से inspired थे. I had said that he had inspiration. One of those inspiration was in his conception of abandonment. For Sartre, abandonment means especially abandonment by God. This does not imply that God as a metaphysical entity actually existed at some point and went away. Sartre is echoing Nietzsche's famous pronouncement, God is dead. इसको हमने बाद में डिटेल में डिस्कस भी किया है. In Sartre's conception of freedom, there is no metaphysical divinity to determine essence of human life. No moral compass. We are what we make of ourselves. Again, I am not claiming कि भाई ये सवाल मैंने क्लास में करा दिए. I am just saying it is not the case that Nietzsche was not discussed in this context at all. Nietzsche is an existentialist philosopher. उनको वहीं पर डिस्कस किया जाता है, whether it be on morality, whether it be on religion, whatever. And question was asked in the second paper. So it's not possible कि ऐसे Nietzsche जो है हम second paper में करा पाए, संभव ही नहीं. He's not on the radar for morality, not on the radar for religion as per the syllabus or as per the PYQs. But he is definitely someone who gets a reference while we teach existentialism. So I said Sartre's conception of freedom is based on being and nothingness. It is based on Nietzsche's God is dead, and it is based on existence precedes essence. He was inspired by Heidegger's Dasein and temporality. Somebody has written on YouTube that I upgrade my notes. It is one of my bad qualities that I don't upgrade my notes. इनफैक्ट ये तो अभी टाइप लास्ट 1.5-2 सालों में हुआ है, वो भी बहुत मुश्किल से, आधा टाइप है आधा नहीं है. I have still in the handwritten version, and since 2017 I have not added sentence other than कि ये इस साल 6B जो है ये सवाल पूछा गया उतना ही नोट्स में ऐड होता है. 6B is being asked, वो मैं नोट्स का वो पार्ट जो जिससे पूछा गया है उसको वहां पे आगे क्वेश्चन लिख के और फोटो खींच के भेज देता हूँ लोग. सो आई एम नॉट. एनीवेज, सो फिलोसफी इज अ स्टैटिक टॉपिक. यहाँ पर अपग्रेड नहीं करना पड़ता है. जो लोग नोट्स अपग्रेड कर रहे हैं एक्चुअली वो उन्होंने पहले ठीक से बनाया नहीं. दे आर अपग्रेडिंग बेस्ड ऑन कि इस साल क्या पूछ लिया. दैट इज नॉट अ करेक्ट वे. आपका नोट्स वैसा होना चाहिए दैट इट कैन आंसर एनी क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम लास्ट 20-30 ईयर्स ऑफ द पास्ट, और फिर मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली आपको जो नेक्स्ट ईयर पूछा जाए या इस साल जो पूछा जाए. हाइंडसाइट में तो एवरीबडी इज अ जीनियस. Even I am genius for making these notes, but not during my writing mains. So genius is in sarcastic way. अब ये क्वेश्चन डी देखिए. डिस्कस द नेचर ऑफ इम्बॉडीड लिबरेशन जीवन मुक्ति विथ रेफरेंस टू अद्वैत वेदांत. सो वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन ऑन अद्वैत. एंड I had asked, although he could not deliver in that period, but I had asked in उसको soul bondage and liberation revise कराने के लिए सुदर्शन. So this is the way I revise. When I do soul bondage and liberation, I do it for entire Indian philosophy. चारवाक में बॉन्डेज एंड लिबरेशन क्या है, जैनिज्म में क्या है, मीमांसा में क्या है, न्याय वैशेषिक में क्या है, सांख्य योग में क्या है. ऑल्दो जब ये इंडिविजुअली अभी आप इंडियन फिलोसफी में पढ़ेंगे वहां पर ये टॉपिक को मैं सभी के साथ कराता हूँ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट अस सी इफ आई हैव सम इंडियन फिलोसफी नोट्स. ये जैसे मान लीजिए सांख्य है, तो सांख्य का प्रकृति पुरुष, इवोल्यूशन, इवोल्यूट्स, फिर लास्ट में देखिए क्या कर रहा है, बॉन्डेज एंड लिबरेशन. सॉरी. सो हर फिलोसोफर में साथ में भी करा देते हैं, और फिर देन व्हेन पेपर 2 कम्स, सोल, इमोर्टेलिटी, बॉन्डेज एंड लिबरेशन, कर्मा, तो वहां पर सबको एक साथ करा देते हैं. एनी अदर, लेट अस सी, जस्ट सपोज मान लीजिए वैशेषिक का ही करते हैं कि वैशेषिक का तो नहीं होगा अपने नोट्स में. सो देयर इज लिबरेशन. सो देयर इज बॉन्डेज एंड देयर इज लिबरेशन ऑफ वैशेषिक. और कोई टॉपिक देखते हैं. बुद्धिज्म मान लीजिए, देख लीजिए बुद्धिज्म. सो दिस इज अष्टांगिक मार्ग और 8-fold path of liberation of Buddhism. But where is the nirvana part? This is Heenyan, Mahayana. So there is nirvana. Root cause is beginningless avidya or ignorance. Then dvadas nidan, then condition during bondage, then liberation. Then what is nirvana? निर्वाणा के बारे में लिखा है. टाइप्स ऑफ निर्वाणा, सौपदेश एंड अनुपदेश. बोधिसत्व क्या होता है, कर्मा अकॉर्डिंग टू बुद्धिज्म. इसी में से एक सवाल ये भी बनता है कि बुद्धिज्म में जो है अगर सोल नहीं है तो हाउ आर दे एबल टू एक्सप्लेन rebirth. That is a repeated question asked, that how are they able to explain rebirth without a permanent soul. यहाँ देखिए लिखा हुआ है, criticism of Buddhist karma theory is that in absence of an enduring self, transmigration of deeds and action is impossible because according to Dwadas Nidan, one would need an individual bearer like Upanishadic self. Buddhist response is if there can be an action without an agent, there can be transmigration without a transmigrating self. The word karma means deeds and it covers two ideas, namely the deed itself, the effect of modifying, etc., etc. But we'll be like not agreeing with that. Further, those challenges are given, which was asked in your paper one. How does Buddhism explain rebirth in absence of a permanent soul? जो आपका 8 का C था, I believe. इसको इन डिटेल मैंने एक स्कूल्स ऑफ बुद्धिज्म टॉपिक में भी कराया है, जहां पर हम नैरात्मवाद डिस्कस कर रहे होंगे. यस, आर्ग्यूमेंट्स इन सपोर्ट ऑफ नैरात्मवाद. So the comment is where which is against this Nairatmavad. Okay, so this is law of karma is thrown overboard, bondage and nirvana. बहुत अच्छे आर्गुमेंट्स है आदि शंकराचार्य के. कर्ता प्रनाशा एंड अकर्ता भयोगामा. देन अर्थ क्रियाकृत लक्षणम सत, वो जो है इनवैलिड हो जाता है. निर्वाणा जो है इनवैलिड हो जाएगा. प्लस ही गिव वेरी लॉजिकल आर्गुमेंट्स फॉर दैट. एंड देन मिसेस राइस डेविड से कंक्लूड कर लेंगे. व्हाट मिसेस राइस डेविड सेज, दैट इज अ गुड कंक्लूजन. सो आइडिया बेसिकली इज दैट bondage and liberation is done individually in Indian philosophy also, and as a topic even in, for example, अभी जो पूछा था bondage and liberation, let us see क्या सवाल था. embodied liberation, जीवन मुक्ति with reference to अद्वैत वेदांत. तो अद्वैत वेदांत में जो आपको मुक्ति मिलती है, that is possible, that is all जीवन मुक्ति, not विदेह मुक्ति. इसको एक और टर्म से जाना जाता है सदेह मुक्ति. सो यू विल बी लिबरेटेड विथ योर बॉडी. So how does Adi Shankaracharya explain Sadeh Mukti? So ये भी एक क्वेश्चन आया था, बिंब प्रतिबिंबवाद. दैट वाज अ क्वेश्चन आस्क्ड इन पेपर 1. दो थ्योरीज हैं जीव के, बिंब प्रतिबिंबवाद और अवच्छेदावाद. डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ लिमिटेशंस एंड रिफ्लेक्शन थ्योरी, दैट वाज वन ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस आस्क्ड इन पेपर 1. लिबरेशन में शंकराचार्य एम्स टू शो हाउ इंट्रिंसिक प्योर कंडीशन ऑफ सेल्फ कैन बी रीगेन्ड. प्रोसेस और पाथ, द स्टडी ऑफ वेदांता हेल्प्स कॉन्क्वेयर मैन डीप रूटेड इफेक्ट्स लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग इग्नोरेंस. हमको बेसिकली ये दिखाना है कि इट इज पॉसिबल इवन ड्यूरिंग जीवन मुक्ति. This is liberation. However, the body may continue because it is a product of prarabdha karma, which has already borne fruit. Just as a potter's wheel does not stop immediately when the motion is removed, liberation or knowledge destroys संचित कर्मा. एग्जाम्पल क्या दिया? तो ये जो जीवन मुक्ता है, यही यूपीएससी ने पूछा था, एज अपोज टू विदेह मुक्ति. आपको जीवन मुक्ति हो जाएगा और थोड़ी देर बाद जब आपका बॉडी खत्म हो जाएगा तो आपको विदेह मुक्ति भी मिल जाएगा. यही पूछा था उन्होंने कि इज इट पॉसिबल दैट यू कैन हैव जीवन मुक्ति, व्हाट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट. और आदि शंकराचार्य ने एक बहुत इजी एग्जाम्पल से दिया है कि मान लीजिए पॉटर जो है उसने एक व्हील को मोशन दिया है, और अगर वो हाथ हटा भी लेता है तो थोड़ी देर के लिए व्हील घूमता रहता है ना, या इमीडिएटली स्टॉप हो जाता है. आप में से कितने लोगों ने बचपन में लट्टू नचाया है? यस. अरे कुछ लोगों ने तो नचाया ही होगा. नोबडी.
Yes, sir.
ऑल ऑफ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर यूपीएससी सिंस योर बर्थ. लट्टू नचाया होगा. तो वो लट्टू जो है, जब आप उसको ऐसे हाथ से छोड़ देते थे तो वो घूमता तो रहता है ना फॉर सम टाइम. यस. यस और नो?
Yes, sir.
यस. तो वही बात ये भी कह रहे हैं कि भाई आप वो मोशन, वो जो आपके पुराने कर्मा थे वो तो बेयर कर चुके हैं। आपने जो लट्टू फेंका वो नाचना चालू कर रहा है, दैट इज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ योर इम्पार्टिंग मोशन, बट वो नाचता रह रहा है, वो उसके बाद रुक जाएगा। योर जीवन मुक्ति विल कन्वर्ट इनटू विदेह मुक्ति, और योर सदैह मुक्ति विल कन्वर्ट इनटू विदेह मुक्ति। लेकिन मुक्ति तो आपको तभी मिल जाती है व्हेन यू हैव इमीडिएट इंट्यूटिव रियलाइजेशन ऑफ द ट्रूथ, आई एम ब्रह्म और अहम ब्रह्मास्मि। एक पूरा स्टेज भी दिया है कैसे होगा, फोर फोल्ड प्रोपोजिशन स्टेप्स वगैरह वो सारा दिया हुआ है, श्रवण मनन निधि ध्यासन एक्सेट्रा। बट यूपीएससी ने यही सवाल पूछा है कि इज जीवन मुक्ति, हाउ इज जीवन मुक्ति एक्सप्लेन्ड इन अद्वैत वेदांत। डिस्कस द नेचर ऑफ इम्बॉडीड लिबरेशन विथ रेफरेंस टू अद्वैत वेदांत। अद्वैत वेदांत के संदर्भ में जीवन मुक्ति के स्वरूप का विवेचन कीजिए। ओके, देन very simple question, how does Aquinas's account of faith as an intellectual assent reconcile the juxtaposition of reason and faith? So it is a question on reason and faith plus Aquinas के दो वर्जन्स हैं ट्रूथ के, there is a higher truth or there is a lower truth, so that part plus the relation between reason and faith, you could have easily written what is the possible relations between reason and faith and what is Aquinas's view. Aquinas's view on truth, some truths you can know, some truths which are of a higher nature. Aquinas considers God to be transcendental, unknown, hidden, etc. So there are some truths which you have to believe, there are some truths which are presented to you. Okay. Present an account of design argument. Design argument is which argument? Very correctly identified by this person. Argument from टेलियोलॉजी, यस। एंड मैंने क्या बताया था, किसके आर्ग्यूमेंट्स टेलियोलॉजी के लिए इवन कांट से ज्यादा डिवास्टेटिंग है? whose arguments are even more devastating than Kant on teleology? Yes, we had given example of carpenter, poor carpenter, sorry, poor chair, poor carpenter. The world shows evidence of considerable failure, wasted efforts. याद है ये sentence? Yes. Yes or no? नहीं रे भाई। So it is David Hume, and we had discussed that Hume's arguments are even more destructive than Kant for teleology.
So here we can write Paley's analogy of what?
Encountering him, you want to write.
Sir, in the design argument, one of the
हाँ, you
subjects.
can, you if you want to give a basic introduction of design, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है ह्यूम का क्रिटिसिज्म बताइए और ह्यूम का क्रिटिसिज्म बताइए. So Hume's destruction of argument from design and your destruction of Hume's argument. So you can mention argument from design क्या है, and you can give example of teleological argument. Oh, sorry, I mean analogy from watch. धीरे धीरे इसको ऊपर ले जाना पड़ेगा because internet is lagging a bit. Just bear with me. 30 more seconds. So here we discussed teleological argument. Where is it? इसके बाद खुल ही नहीं रहा है. चलिए ह्यूम के ही उसमें देख लेते हैं. So Hume had said rational theology is not possible. ह्यूम ने कहा था कि रैशनल थियोलॉजी जो है वो पॉसिबल नहीं है, और उसमें वी विल बी स्टडिंग दैट ही हैज गिवन आर्गुमेंट्स फ्रॉम, he has criticized arguments from design. देखिए यहाँ पे लिखा भी है, refutes ontological and teleological arguments for existence of God. It is even more powerful than Kant. Then यहाँ पर इनके arguments को हमने डिटेल में डिस्कस किया है. Hume's refutation of teleological and ontological arguments are more devastating. Can you read this? Is this visible? I'll just erase last classes.
Yes, sir.
तो बहुत सिंपल आर्गुमेंट देते हैं. वो क्या कहते हैं कि argument from analogy is justified. You cannot talk from the parts about the whole. The whole cannot be decided on the basis of part. Imperfect world. Hume remarks the structure of universe shows evidence of considerable failure, wasted effort, disorganization, and extremely slow rate of development, which leads to creation of this world only after thousands of years have elapsed. Refutation of conception of God as soul of universe. Ontological नहीं पूछा है, टेलियोलॉजिकल के लिए पूछा है, आर्ग्यूमेंट फ्रॉम डिजाइन, और इसका भी क्रिटिसिज्म पूछा है. भाई ह्यूम जो है क्यों गलत है, इवन दैट पार्ट वी हैव टू राइट. और कंक्लूजन में लिखेंगे ह्यूम्स सोल पर्पस इन अटैकिंग ट्रेडिशनल आर्गुमेंट्स इन फेवर ऑफ गॉड इज टू पॉइंट आउट दैट कंसेप्शन ऑफ गॉड इज बेस्ड ऑन ह्यूमन रीजन और एक्सपेरिमेंट, is not based on human reason or experience but on the requirements of human life. He himself was not an atheist. Okay, so question was straightforward. Hume के argument क्या है and what are the criticisms for whatever Hume is saying. So criticism for against Hume's criticism. So present an account of design argument to prove the existence of God along with its criticism from David Hume. तो पहले पार्ट में आप लिख देंगे जैसा शव्या कह रही थी कि कैन वी राइट आर्ग्यूमेंट फ्रॉम पेलीज वॉच. पेलीज वॉच लिखने के बाद यू विल ऑल्सो राइट आर्ग्यूमेंट्स फ्रॉम नेचर. You will write arguments of the body, arguments for from like the complex way the world is being created. All that part अगर उसका हम notes की बात करें तो we have discussed in Kant. Even Kant will appreciate the argument from design. He will say that he is compelled in a way. So this is the psychotheological proofs or the theological proofs and Kant's criticism. लेकिन Kant भी जो है conclusion में लिखेंगे Kant considers this theological proof to be untenable as the other true ones. However, he thinks this proof strengthens the belief in supreme author with an irresistible force. It also encourages scientists to study the nature of detail of nature with unlimited interest. तो ये भी आप conclusion में लिख सकते थे in place of whatever Hume was writing. Plus ऊपर में teleological argument तो लिखे ही हुए. आप इंडियन फिलोसफी से भी लिख सकते हो. From न्याय perspective also you can write the teleological argument. You can also write from Vedant perspective, for it is for Leela. Or for this, from yoga philosophy, yoga has said that world is created for, or God has created this world for spiritual perfection of human beings. So from any of them, even Aquinas, in his 5 demonstrable ways, 2 ways that he has given to are teleological. So वो 2 views, peli का analogical, then न्याय, Vedanta, these for proof and criticism में you will be writing from ह्यूम्स पर्सपेक्टिव. फिर ह्यूम का कंक्लूजन लिखेंगे कि वो सिर्फ रैशनलिज्म को डिनाई करना चाहते थे. और फाइनल कंक्लूजन कांट से लिखेंगे दैट ही सेज these proofs definitely increase the belief in the supreme author with an irresistible force. It also encourages scientists to study the nature with unlimited interest. Okay. Now let us see the next question. Explain the main tenets of process theodicy as an explanation of problem of evil. So process theodicy, we had discussed that there are various arguments against problem of evil. One is the instrumentalist view, then other is the free willist defense, then other is evil is an illusion. फिर हमने जॉन हिक का थियोडेसी आर्गुमेंट देखा था, सोल परफेक्टिंग आर्गुमेंट देखा था. So that is only asked here, the main tenets of process theodicy as an explanation of problem of evil. तो आप पहला पेज तो वही बता देंगे कि problem of evil क्या है and why it is a bitter pill for theists to swallow. वो बताने के बाद आप process theodicy के बारे में बता देंगे, and then you will also say that there are also other arguments like free willist, instrumentalist, evil as an illusion, और आप आंसर को conclude कर देंगे. So without sounding like a broken record, so theodicy, there are various theodicies. Theodicy justify God by giving framework for evil to exist. Predestination, spelling mistake, predeterminism, dualism, karma. John Hicks soul making theodicy. इनका कहना है कि long history of human evolution has passed. They become intelligent, rational beings. Now it is required to be spiritual or soul-making children of God. A world full of suffering and trial is more conducive to this process than a world of constant pleasure. That is one particular theodicy, John Hicks soul-making theodicy. Conclusion में आप लिख देंगे, it is not explained logically, only in the religious sphere to eliminate evil between moral and nature. There might be some spelling mistake in that typing. Okay, so let us move very quickly now to the next question so that we can complete this paper discussion. How does the Vedantic view of religious pluralism address the conflicting truths of different faith? Answer with special reference to Swami Vivekanand's view of universal religion. अब स्वामी विवेकानंद का व्यू पूछा है आपके नोट्स में. स्वामी विवेकानंद इज रिप्रेजेंटेड थ्रू किसके चेले थे ये? यस, रामकृष्ण परमहंस. So Advaitic view of religious pluralism and Ramakrishna Paramhansa's view. कौन सा टॉपिक था? Problem of absolute truth. I think ये नोट्स नहीं है. Just to show that the notes are not updated, So this is 19th April 2023. अच्छा, Shabia, you have got on 25th August by these notes. Who forwarded you? Okay. ये कैसे खुल रहा है? Bear with me for 30 seconds. आंसर राइटिंग कब से स्टार्ट होगी? फ्रॉम सैटरडे वी विल स्टार्ट विथ इंडियन फिलोसफी. So this is religious pluralism. Question was asking religious pluralism, and here there is Ramakrishna's unity of all religions. इनके आर्ग्यूमेंट्स भी बहुत अच्छे हैं. रामकृष्ण परमहंस सेज कि जैसे पानी एक ही है, उसके कई नाम हो सकते हैं. इट कैन बी कॉल्ड जल, पानी. गोल्ड एक ही है, लेकिन इससे कई ऑर्नामेंट बन सकते हैं. On caste, he says Narayan is the pious man, Narayan is the hypocrite, Narayan is the criminal. He says Yathomat Tathopat, God exists in all beings. He can be realized through all paths. The important thing is to reach the roof. आपको छत पर पहुंचना है. आप उसके लिए स्टोन के स्टेयर्स लीजिए, बैम्बू का स्टेयर्स लीजिए, या पोल पे चढ़ जाइए. आप छत पे पहुंचना चाहते हैं तो उसके कई रास्ते हैं. On the question that if all paths reach to God, which one should you follow? He said, fix your attention on that which appeals to you most. He practiced what he preached. Ramakrishna took to Islam, uttered the name of Allah. Similarly, he took to Christianity. He said, I had to practice each religion for a time. Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Shaktas, Vaishnavas, Vedanta. With all different paths, I reached the same goal. और कमेंट में क्या लिखेंगे? इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ वंडर दैट अ मैन सो इंटॉक्सिकेटेड विथ गॉड could ever walk on this earth. His spirit is over India and mingles with the spirit of the world. His disciple Vivekanand was the spiritual leader of the colonized country whose self-confidence had taken a beating. But Vivekanand raised it. He said, arise, awake, and stop not until your goal is reached. So Vivekanand लिख देते आप. He is taking the values of his master Ramakrishna Paramhans in that question. Okay, so even I think this notes would be the same only. Problem of absolute truth. Only thing is कि इससे आपको अभी last class में कभी पढ़ाया है. Yes, so there is Ramakrishna's unity of all religions, same notes. चलिए और दो चार जो सवाल बचे हैं देख लेते हैं. What proof do naive philosophers offer for the existence of God? Easy question. Yes. Yes or no? It's a very easy question for a very simple reason. Even during our Sudarshan revision, we did Nyay. Ayojnat, Padat, Shabd, Vakyat. तो एक्सपेक्टेड क्वेश्चन रहता है कि भाई न्याय का प्रूफ जो है पूछ लेंगे. इट इज एक्सपेक्टेड कि इंडियन फिलोसफी में अगर पूछेगा प्रूफ्स फॉर एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ गॉड, तो more probable than not it would be a statement by न्याय, or it would be asking the proofs of न्याय. जरूर आपको क्लास में कराया होगा, आई एम जस्ट चेकिंग दैट. So this is Nyaya's conception and proofs for God, introduction, features of God, proof, criticism, comment. Gautama not explicitly talked about God. Udayan 10 proofs for existence of God. So these are the proofs: Karyat, Ayojnat, Padat, Shabd, Shruti, Vakyat, Drityate, Sankhya, Adrast, and Karyat. And these people were also absent in class. Two of them are writing mains also, Saras, etc. So I hope they have written. Then in is the concept of immortality of self a necessary condition for rebirth, discussed with reference to Bhagavad Gita. So basically this is arguments for immortality, because Bhagavad Gita will say yes, soul is immortal. Nenam chidanti shastran. It cannot be cut by any weapon, it cannot be burnt by fire, it cannot be destroyed by water, etc. So Gita gives proofs for the immortality of soul, but we'll also give counter arguments. लेकिन गीता के भी proofs हम लिख देंगे. Immortality of self, I think Aryan tried to teach from my material only that day. So there is the argument from Gita. There are the shloks written. Na sato sato. So there is no endurance of the existence and there is no cessation. And then we will criticize because Gita comes in the theistic argument, in the Eastern theistic arguments. We will criticize Buddhism's Anat, how an eternal soul falls into bondage. Law of karma cannot be explained. Rejects first uncaused soul. Then materialism of Charvak, Dehatmavad. We have no memory of past life. We'll be criticizing. Okay, so Gita will basically be defending the immortality of soul. It will be a theistic argument. These are arguments for immortality of soul, Eastern theistic arguments, and we'll also write the counter. चलिए और देखते हैं क्या बच गया. Nature and object of religious experience as by Radha Krishnan, that we have discussed. Necessary for normative principle, ये तो हमने शुरू में ही कर लिया था. Advaitic notion of indescribability in the context of nature of religious language. Now this is a very interesting question. जाते जाते UPSC जो है एक तरह से आपको it is testing you very very peculiarly. तो एक तरफ तो अद्वैतिक नोशन ऑफ इनडिस्क्राइबेबिलिटी है और दूसरा नेचर ऑफ रिलीजियस लैंग्वेज. सो वेदर यू विल कंसिडर इट, पहला तो ये है कि कॉग्निटिव है कि नॉन कॉग्निटिव. यस, so I will say it is non cognitive. For from one perspective it is non cognitive because Brahman cannot be known by any of the valid sources of knowledge. वो हमने देख लिया why how Brahman cannot be known by perception, how Brahman cannot be known by inference. From one perspective he has given some kind of reality to even illusory reality. He has divided reality into three parts: illusory, pratibhasik, then empirical reality or vyavaharik, and then paramarthik or highest reality. So from that perspective, religious knowledge is cognitive. He would say that it is described negatively, neti neti, not this, not that. So we will say it is non-cognitive but meaningful. So here you can lay the comparison that it is very similar to, for example, Braithwaite's moral assertion. So moral story backed by assertion. It is very similar to Paul Tillich's symbolic language. So the Sagun Brahman is symbolic in nature. It is a path to reach the Nirgun Brahman. Again, here UPSC wanted you to apply some of your knowledge. Anirvachaniye, uh, Anirvachaniyavad you have to understand from your paper one. That is negative description. Neti neti, not this, not that. एंड इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ रिलीजियस नॉलेज तो या तो आप कॉग्निटिव में रखेंगे या नॉन कॉग्निटिव में रखेंगे. हम कहेंगे नॉन कॉग्निटिव क्योंकि ब्रह्मन को जाना नहीं जा सकता है. देन वी विल से दैट इट इज नॉन कॉग्निटिव बट मीनिंगफुल बिकॉज reality has three stages. The empirical reality is what is accessible to us. That is your Vyavaharik Sat. Then you will also mention some of the proofs that he has given, and you will be doing the comparison with the western models, क्योंकि हम नेचर ऑफ रिलीजियस लैंग्वेज में सिर्फ वेस्टर्न ही पढ़ते हैं. तो इन्होंने जो है यहाँ पर ये भी खोल दिया कि भाई इंडियन का भी एक बार जरा देख लिया कीजिए. तो instead of studying it for all the Indian philosophers, we know what is that Indian philosopher saying, and we know what is religious language. We will say that it is non-cognitivistic but meaningful. So that completes all the discussion for paper 2. इनमें से किसी क्वेश्चन में कोई डाउट है या आपका कोई ये है कि इस पार्ट में ये लिख सकते थे, सो प्लीज टेल, अदरवाइज वी विल पॉज. कोई डाउट है तो इसमें से पूछिए. यस, even in paper 1 if there is any doubt you can ask. Anybody? So from day after tomorrow we are starting with Indian philosophy. We'll be starting with Charvak and we'll try to complete Indian philosophy in September itself. All the topics we'll go in this order: Charvak, Jainism, Buddhism, Nyaya, Vaisheshik, Sankhya Yoga, Mimamsa, then Advait, Visishta Advait, Madhva's Dvaitvad, Shuddha Advait, and Aurobindo. And many of you already have an idea in the Sudarshan classes about Indian philosophy. So we will go at a pace where we'll try to cover. Classes का schedule कैसा रहेगा? So classes will be 3 days in the week where we'll be studying Indian philosophy, and on Saturday, Sunday, we are going to write PYQs on that. Okay, so on Saturday, Sunday in our NEEB sessions, we are going to write. We'll try that. चारवाक तो बहुत आसानी से हो जाएगा. Jainism का भी कुछ पार्ट हो जाएगा by this Saturday, Sunday. So we'll write all the PYQs with respect to Charvak, and maybe 1 or 2 topics of Jainism would be done. तो उसका हम PYQ लिख लेंगे. All 30 years PYQ, and we'll write the model answers will be written by me and you will be doing the practice writing. So this we will be doing on Saturday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we'll try that. 2 दिन 3 दिन हो जाए कम से कम. चारवाक will take 1.5 class plus 1 class. आधा आपका जैनिज्म हो जाएगा. Both of them take 1.5 class. थोड़ा सा जैनिज्म I teach beyond what is generally covered. I don't only end at Saptabhangi Nyaya. I teach something about karmas, their bondage and liberation, etc. So that takes half class more. So we'll do Charvak and Jainism, and then Saturday, Sunday we'll be writing in our NEEB class. If there is any doubt with respect to paper 1 question, paper 2 question, just ask. Otherwise, we'll conclude our session. This answer writing is starting from Saturday. UPSC Dreamer. ऐसे नाम मत रखा कीजिए ना YouTube पे. अपने नाम ले रखा कीजिए. You want to be known by your name or UPSC Dreamer Achiever name? आपका लिस्ट में आपका नाम आएगा ना, यूपीएससी ड्रीमर अचीवर थोड़ी है। यस, अमिता, दीपेश, गौरी,
Sir, in
ऋतुराज।
paper one,
यस, यस, पेपर वन।
sir, in paper one, question number 4, part C, section A.
प्लीज रीड द
Sir,
क्वेश्चन।
explain Berkeley's doctrine of nominalism.
सी, Berkeley knew that in like Berkeley says that all knowledge is about particulars, right? I'll show you even in the notes. He says that all knowledge is about particulars because unki philosophy mein SES percipi, he's an empiricist. He's not talking about naming, comparison, etc. He has refuted already Locke's philosophy. So he's moving towards more hardcore empiricism. In his philosophy, to be is to be perceived. So he's saying that all reality is based on experience only. There is no reason, there is no role for naming, abstraction, and these kind of things. Abstract ideas are not real. But he knew that knowledge is a collected whole. Knowledge as a segregated fact to hota nahi. So knowledge as an integrated whole, would it require a permanent self, or would it require a self which can like be the foundation or substratum for this knowledge? Yes, Shabir. Knowledge would require that there is some kind of synthesizer, some kind of consolidator. So in that context, he talks about the general theory of knowledge. He talks about the that knowledge is about names and numbers. वो कैसे आते हैं? I'll just discuss. I do concede that ये क्लास में मैंने छोड़ दिया था because I thought कि ये कहाँ ही पढ़ाएंगे, लेकिन देखिए आपके नोट्स में मैंने लास्ट में यहाँ लिखा हुआ था, थ्योरी ऑफ नॉलेज ऑफ बर्कले। यहां से पढ़िए शैवे।
Yes, sir. However, Berkeley was aware of the fact that knowledge by its very nature is conceptual. What we say should be clear to others, which means there is a common element. This Berkeley calls as general idea.
उसके नीचे वाला पैराग्राफ पढ़िए।
General ideas are anything. Yes, sir. General notions according to Berkeley. General ideas are anything but abstract ideas. There are 6 possible views which he expresses about them, namely, the function of universality in knowledge may be carried by particular things, particular images, names, meaning, signs, notions. For example, a particular thing or image becomes general by standing for all similar particulars. Universality may be considered not to
Not
belong to
to
things,
belong to things.
but
Yes,
to the names that designate
yes. And Berkeley
but
uses
to
the
the names that
notion
designate
for,
them.
yes, for knowledge for spirit. So this is his nominalism. इंडियन फिलोसफी में आप देखेंगे तो बुद्धिज्म ये बात कहता है इन आलय विज्ञान। बुद्धिज्म विल से व्हाट इज, जैसे आपने वो कॉन्वर्सेशन पढ़ा होगा ना बिटवीन मिलिंद, उस समय तो उनका नाम मिनेंडर था, एंड नागसेना। he
Yes, sir, in
questions,
Milan's
हाँ
comment.
हाँ, so he is saying that ये जो है ये सिर्फ नेम्स हैं, these are mere names। आपको इसमें तीन तीन कॉन्सेप्ट दिखेगा। अभी इंडियन फिलोसफी में हम करेंगे नॉमिनलिज्म, कंसेप्चुअलिज्म एंड रियलिज्म। वी विल स्टडी दिस थ्री। ये पर्टिकुलरली ये टर्म आई थिंक आपके लिए प्रॉब्लमेटिक है ना, इस टर्म का मतलब क्या है, राइट?
Yes, sir, I thought
Yes. So
it
regarding the
might be
nature of
refutation of matter.
regarding the nature and knowledge of reality, there are three theories. One is realism, and an object is independent for its knowledge as well as existence from its knower. One is conceptualism, which is very similar to what you called universal, which is common and essential characteristics. Or it can also be interpreted as idealism, depending on which theory we are talking. And one is nominalism, दीज आर जस्ट कन्वेंशंस और नेम्स। जैसे वो कहते हैं उसमें मिलिंद को नागसेना कहेंगे कि ये जो चैरियट आप जिसको कह रहे हैं, इट इज अ मियर एग्रीगेट ऑफ द एक्सल ऑफ द व्हील, और उसका एक कंबाइंड नेम हम कह रहे हैं। सिमिलरली द सोल इज नथिंग बट एन एग्रीगेट ऑफ द पंच स्कंधास। तो वहां पर आपको और क्लियर हो जाएगा इनका ये नॉमिनलिज्म है, क्योंकि बर्कले की फिलोसफी कम्स वेरी क्लोज टू अलय विज्ञान ऑफ योगाचार विज्ञानवाद स्कूल। तो ये भी जो कह रहे हैं कि ओनली स्पिरिट्स एंड देयर आइडियाज अलोन आर रियल, वहां पर भी जो है अलय विज्ञान में माइंड इज अ रिपोजिटरी ऑफ फैक्ट, देयर ऑल्सो ओनली माइंड एंड इट्स आइडियाज आर रियल। तो उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में भी हम ये टर्म भी डिस्कस करते हैं वहां पे। आई एम श्योर इट मस्ट बी, आई हैव एक्सेस टू बुद्धिज्म नोट्स, आई विल जस्ट शो यू। सॉरी, वैशेषिक में when they talk about the universals, देखिए यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है व्हाट इज द वेरियस आइडियाज अबाउट यूनिवर्सल इन इंडियन फिलोसफी बुद्धिज्म। It samanya is not given a status of ontological reality, it is a conventional name with negative connotation. Cow means that simply which is not non-cow. Samanya is real, so this is realism. ये सेंटेंस पढ़िए शैव्या।
Yes, sir. The three views of nominalism, conceptualism, and realism with which we are aware in Western philosophy appears in Indian philosophy in Buddhism, Jainism, and Vedanta and Nyaya Vaisheshika.
नेक्स्ट पढ़िए
Buddhist
ये। हाँ, अपोहवाद।
Apohavad is nominalism. According to it, universals are only names, not reals. Swalakshan or particular alone is real. A cow is called cow not because it shares the universal cowness, but because it is different from all objects which are not cows. Hence, cow therefore means not non-cows. There is no universal, it is only a conventional name with negative connotation.
Yes, so you will get much more idea about Berkeley when we do आलय विज्ञान। ये तो हम यहाँ वैशेषिक में दिखा रहे हैं, जब हम आलय विज्ञान भी डिस्कस करेंगे वहां भी हम कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ नॉमिनलिज्म डिस्कस करेंगे, देयर वी डिस्कस बर्कले। एंड बर्कले की थ्योरी ऑफ नॉलेज जो है वो वहां पे दिया हुआ था। सो टू योर लिमिटेड पॉइंट दैट हमने बर्कले पढ़ा था बट ये टर्म नहीं मिला था, आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट यू वांट टू मेक करेक्ट।
नहीं सर,
नॉमिनलिज्म टर्म, हाँ हाँ,
नो
मतलब
सर, आई थॉट
नॉमिनलिज्म। यस
नॉमिनलिज्म
यस यस।
होता है कि रेफ्यूटेशन ऑफ मैटर बर्कले का।
नहीं नहीं, रेफ्यूटेशन तो सेकंड पार्ट में पूछा ही उन्होंने, रेफ्यूटेशन ऑफ लॉक्स एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आइडिया। लेकिन ये रेफ्यूट करने के बाद जो है वो नॉलेज को ये तो दिखाना पड़ेगा ना कि भाई नॉलेज का कुछ तो बेसिस है। देखिए हमने इसीलिए नोट्स में भी यही करा है, हमने इनका एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आइडिया रिफ्यूट कर दिया। we gave two arguments, fallacy of vicious abstraction and psychological method of introspection. But Berkeley was aware that that knowledge by its very nature is conceptual. We should be clear to others when we say there is a common element. Then he discusses the general notions. When he has he क्योंकि abstract idea और general idea एक तरह से same है, लेकिन बर्कले बताना चाहते हैं कि कैसे एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आइडिया गलत है, जनरल आइडिया होता है। जनरल आइडिया कैसे होते हैं? पर्टिकुलर थिंग से, पर्टिकुलर इमेजेस से, मीनिंग से, साइन से, नोशन से, नेम से, नॉट बाय कंपाउंडिंग, कंपेयरिंग, एब्स्ट्रैक्शन ऑफ simple idea into complex idea. That is what he wanted to say.
Yes.
Understood?
Yes.
Okay, good doubt. Any other doubt? Anybody?
Sir, also in third B, where
Yes,
it is
please
written
tell the
like yes, sir. Sir, it is basically asking about verification theory of logical positivists.
yes.
So, sir, the question is that present an exposition of the verification theory of meaning as propounded by the logical positivists. In this context, also differentiate between the strong and the weak sense of the word verifiable. So, sir, here the doubt is that we have to write till second attempt
ISV.
of
Yes,
yes,
absolutely
sir.
correct. Absolutely correct. Strong verification principle and weak verification. Correct.
Not the third, sir. It might then it will become irrelevant a bit. कि we
No,
are
no, 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 no.
stretching it.
Next after उसका भी क्रिटिसिज्म करके नेक्स्ट वो नहीं करना है, उतनी जगह ही नहीं है आपके पास ना टाइम.
Yes, sir.
हाँ. So you will just write about his first his first shortcoming, and then you will mention about strong verification and weak verification.
Yes, sir. And sir, also in introduction, we have to write about analytic and synthetic. That
No.
all this.
You simply mention that part, that the basis of it. एक part आप लिख दीजिए कि the ये वाला पढ़िए इसको. The ground prepared for elimination of metaphysics lies in verification principle, which itself lies in the distinction made by logical positivists between analytic and synthetic. इतना लिख लीजिए, उसके बाद आगे बढ़ जाइए.
Done, sir. So there is no need of this distinction to be mentioned separately. All husbands have heads and all husbands
कितने मार्क्स का
are
क्वेश्चन है? कितने मार्क्स का है?
सर 15 का है एंड 2 सब पार्ट्स हैं.
अच्छा, एक बार क्वेश्चन दोबारा बताइए.
Sir, present an exposition of the verification theory of meaning as propounded by logical positivists.
Yes.
In this context, also differentiate between the strong and weak sense of the word
So you
verifiable.
can write till here. You can write this distinction. For example, all husbands have head. This is a synthetic proposition because it requires an empirical investigation, whereas all husbands are married. This is an analytical proposition because its opposite cannot be thought. इतना बता दीजिए. Based on this, every significant proposition that is meaningful must be either analytic or synthetic. फिर यहाँ से आप जो है पहला टेस्ट चालू कर देंगे. You will begin with the first test of Schlick. चाहे तो आप ये टेबल भी बना सकते हैं, पास और फेल. तो या तो आप ये स्टेटमेंट लिख दीजिए ये वाला, या फिर बेटर है कि ये टेबल बना दीजिए. एंड देन यू राइट स्लिक very quickly the shortcoming of slick, then air, first shortcoming of air, and then the weak and strong verification principle. Conclusion में Alonzo Church, an American philosopher, has used mathematics to destroy. To this, Ayer concedes that he was unable to develop a flawless verification theory of meaning.
Yes, sir. Sir, and one last.
Yes.
Sir, in second A, only one sub part, that is, what are the basic tenets of rationalism? Sir, only till here. Like the second part is how does Descartes build a system of philosophy in form?
Correct. So this is what actually I wanted to tell in the first part. ये part जैसे डेकार्ट में जनरली कोजिटो एर्गो सम लोग करा के छोड़ देते हैं, या डेकार्ट हाउ डज ही प्रूव द एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ वर्ल्ड. So we did the method, we did cogito ergo sum. When I was studying this, तो एक लास्ट टॉपिक मुझे मिला बुक में, डेकार्ट एज अ सिस्टम बिल्डर. एंड I was literally irritated with myself because I was making these notes while giving my mains. I had already cleared prelims. I was making notes for Descartes during my then I was very irritated because I did not have a habit of leaving something. I thought नहीं अगर ये Descartes कर रहे हैं तो इसको वहीं पे पूरा करें. In hindsight that backfired then. अगर उस साल वैसे छोड़ दे तो उस साल मुझे याद है Descartes से सीधा cogito ergo sum पे क्वेश्चन था. But today it is of some kind of unintended benefit for you people. So in Descartes topic, if you see the last part of the note where I have done the estimate of Descartes philosophy, एक बार जरा इसमें लोकेट कीजिए पहले Descartes को. Can you locate? Here.
So second row last video.
Yes. So there is this topic estimate of Descartes philosophy. There I have talked method, rationalism, dualism, system builder. वहां पर हमने इसको जो आप पार्ट पूछ रहे हैं जो यूपीएससी ने पूछा है ना, व्हाट आर द मेन टेनेट्स, और डेकार्ट की फिलोसफी में वो टेनेट्स मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली कैसे आते हैं. So estimate of Descartes' philosophy. Descartes was the legislator of modern philosophy, creating an epoch in man's thinking. His method, reason after years of bondage, came to its own, freeing science and theology from the subordination of faith and morality of medieval philosophy. His Cartesian method led to geometrical method of Spinoza and influence on Leibniz and Kant. Rationalism in medieval philosophy, Descartes natural to accept reason and not experience. Descartes is the founder of rationalism. How? He said that by pointing out that real, universal, and necessary knowledge is found in innate ideas alone. It means mind is not only totally receptive but also active. It supplies active formative principles of knowledge. He is a precursor to Kant, who lays down categories of understanding. However, Descartes holds dual role of innate ideas. Essence of mind is consciousness, which has the innate idea of God. On the basis of this, he proves the God. Descartes extends innateness to sense ideas secondary for secondary qualities which are not in object. This leads to Locke's refutation of innate ideas. So, system builder, a method to free philosophy from gymnastic exercise by giving it a strong foundation. Cogito, from which logical deductions have been drawn. मतलब rationalism में there will be logical deduction also. He completes his circle of thought by establishing veracity of God and through it external world, which is followed by Spinoza, Leibniz, and Berkeley. Concluding remark में Russell in History of Philosophy, the constructive part of Descartes' philosophy is less interesting than the earlier descriptive part. He uses all sorts of scholastic maxims such as effect can never have more perfection than cause, which escape the critical scrutiny. इससे आप end कर देंगे. Okay, so doctrine of innate ideas you will discuss in detail. One of the pillars of rationalism, then his use of reason, then Descartes deduced all proofs from cogito, belief in external world and God, etc., and then the veracity of God, etc., he establishes. So basically his criterion, his method, all those part, but that part also I have combined here in the estimate of Descartes' philosophy. Understood?
Done. So yes, sir.
इसी के नीचे वाला वो सेकंड पार्ट यूपीएससी ने पूछा था. Not this part. इससे भी आप यूज कर सकते थे शैवे. Was Descartes a consistent rationalist? So rationalism is a theory of knowledge in which reason or intellect is the main source of knowledge. Rationalism does not accept knowledge derived from sense experience. However, ये part भी आप वहाँ पे use कर सकते थे. Descartes was an initial rationalist, wanted to apply only proved and probable, etc., etc. Okay. So in fact, ये तो मैंने अभी आंसर देते समय देखा ही नहीं अपने नोट्स को. I gave only the top part. Here, this side, it is everything this which was asked in this question. Innate idea, knowledge of self is intuitive from I think I know, Cartesian dualism. This part also you could have written. Then criticism and scholasticism.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
This is
sir.
a much better part even than the above. Inconsistencies be mentioned. Okay. इसके ऊपर actually I wanted to show that is Descartes and Husserl. This was also asked, right? There was a question.
Yes, sir, from I think.
Do I exist? Do I am a substance? So there is also discussion in Husserl's philosophy also. शुरू में ही हूँ. Yes, here. So while Descartes emphasized on the thinker as ego cogito, I think, Husserl moved forward to point out I think something. It is the uh, correct is the correct human experience. I think say I think something. Your consciousness is intentional. That is the comparison. I think UPSC had asked a similar question कि Husserl और Descartes का I think पे क्या व्यू है ना? ऐसा ही कुछ था ना क्वेश्चन.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
यस. टेंशन मत लीजिए. वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी, कंटेम्पररी वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी, इंडियन फिलोसफी, एक वन सेंटेंस भी इसके बाहर नहीं चाहिए. जो थोड़ी बहुत मेहनत करनी है सोशियो पॉलिटिकल में कर लीजिए आप लोग. फिलोसफी ऑफ रिलीजन ऑल्सो डज नॉट रिक्वायर मच ऑफ हार्ड वर्क. ओनली सिंपली इसके अलावा आंसर राइटिंग की प्रैक्टिस बच जाती है. वो लिख लीजिए 300 मार्क्स इन फिलोसफी इज समथिंग विच यू विल लूज इंस्टेड ऑफ गेनिंग. It's already there in your pocket. It is up to you how much you spend wasting it. And yes, I concede philosophy एक ऐसा पार्ट है, 2 महीने 3 महीने छोड़ दीजिए आप सारा भूल जाएंगे. So you should keep revising it 2 to 3 times. By November, December, January यहाँ तक revise कर लीजिए and you will be able to do it. Any other doubt in any other question?
No, sir.
Okay, so that is all from my side. Thank you for your time and patience. We'll see you on Wednesday with Indian philosophy, Charvaka, in new session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.